The next session which we have, the topic of the session is role of community and technology to transform education for the 21st century. For this session, I would like to invite Utkarsh Lokesh, co-founder and CEO at Tech Review. Utkarsh is a visionary entrepreneur or edupreneur, as you say, with the passion for community building and lifelong learning. He's an advocate of 21st century education and the effective use of technology in education. His research efforts aim to discover the best ways technology can help learning, teaching, and leading in the 21st century. His latest research talks about some of the key findings and strategies for 21st century education, key problems in the education sector with respect to the various stakeholders which need to be solved, skills required for each of them in 21st century to solve these problems, and how global community efforts and technology will play a major role in making it happen. Welcome, Utkarsh.
So good morning, and thank you all for joining. My talk is, as you can see, it is going to be on why it requires a community to transform education for the 21st century. And it exactly relates to what Professor Pant said about the Innovative Educators Network. So before I begin my presentation, I would like to ask if someone from the audience can define what a community is. Would anyone want to share their definition of a community? Surely this can be one. Perfect. So I think she made a clearer point. That is, community is a group of people with common bond, or you can say a common set of beliefs and values. So one of the very popular speaker and the leaders said in the US, his name is Simon Sinek, so you can check out his video as well. So he says that we naturally know how to reach out to people who believe in what we believe, and we know how to strike up conversations with those people. We know how to talk to them, and as a result, what happens is those who believe in your vision or ideas will stay with you, and you will leave others behind. So why I'm saying this is, if educators from the community will spread out a word about the need of change, it is something that people are going to believe, understanding they face the same problems and challenges in serving the students in the same community. It is very important to communicate and say that and do the things that we believe in, so that people join and the community gets stronger. A community means sharing, collaborating, helping and respecting others. So those people, the members of the community, they have a high level of trust. They have a high level of communication and cooperation between them. We need to start answering the questions like how we can help the educators next to us, how we can help the institutions next to us. So if I go to the second aspect, why do we need a community? So the fact is that human animal is a social animal, and our survival depends on our ability to form communities. So this is because the truth is that we are not good at everything. We are not good at everything by ourselves, but a group of people might be good at different things. And so the goal should not be to fix your weaknesses only, but to amplify your strengths and look for people who would know what you do not know, or who can do what you do not do. So we are surrounded by thousands of people with different perspectives on various topics and subject matters. So if the person has the ability to collaborate, join forces, and pool resources together, the person has easier time understanding and achieving that goal. So let's talk about the important aspects of community. So communication and collaboration are the important aspects. The first step to bringing change in education or leading in education is to have a great vision. Having a great vision is definitely terrific, but building upon it with others is what makes it a reality. You need to communicate and collaborate that vision with other stakeholders. So now the question comes, how do we communicate? So first thing, someone from the audience said that how do we communicate and how do we bring that up with stakeholders? So first thing is to showcase your own commitment to highlight the support for 21st century education. There are various ways you can demonstrate your support, in whether online or offline. You can produce blogs, you can produce newsletters for various stakeholders, you can describe it in your public appearances. The second is you need to model those outcomes. You expect something from the students, but the fact is that many leaders and teachers do not model the same. The fact is you need to be ready. If teachers and leaders are not willing to do the kind of things they expect the students to do, they cannot be the kind of teacher and leader they want to be. So you need to have the answers to the questions like, what are the skills your students need in order to address the changes in the society and meet the 21st century needs? And based on what skills you mention, you have to figure out how intentional your institution or your job is to helping students develop those skills. The fact is that you will face challenges. The challenges like people will tell you that you are undermining the core academic content. The argument will come that if you focus more on those 21st century skills talked about, you are undermining the teacher's ability to teach what is really important. But the fact is that the two can and should be mutually supportive of each other. Some will criticize that the skills are too focused on the business needs, whereas the skills that Professor Pant mentioned, those skills are actually needed in every element of modern society. The biggest hurdle, as we all can relate to, is the resistance to change. But being a leader or a teacher, when you model those skills, that gives an opportunity to the students or teachers to actually create a culture which will go long. So again, the fact is that you have to communicate your vision to various stakeholders. So the next aspect of the community is collaboration. So if we talk of collaboration, it is the ability of a human or any person to share ideas and thoughts openly alongside another person, or maybe a group of person who can then come up with a combined answer or response and solution to that issue or topic. So it is the ability to combine different notions and beliefs and still come up with a concrete explanation that is reflective of the diversity of the group. So as Professor Pant mentioned, I would like to quote again here, is that one of the things we really have to press is that future for education and corporate sector is in a greater degree of dialogue and conversation between them, rather than just enclosed conversations within them. So he also mentioned, because I don't want to repeat, but I would like to highlight the aspect of learning and sharing. So if we are going to get serious about what the things he mentioned, the 21st century systems of teaching and learning, we cannot be satisfied with the isolated success stories. We need to share and scale the best practices. So when we talk about knowledge, there are things that you know and there are things that you don't know but might want to know. So if you know something, share. So that is very important. But if you don't know something but you would still want to learn, you first learn it and then share, because that reaches out to the community members that might not know it yet. So my second part of the presentation will focus on why I use technology in education. We have been talking about technology. So while you will have a lot of naysayers who talk about the negative impact of technology on education, but the fact is it is the present and the future of education system, and many people, mainly because of the budgetary reasons, ignore it. But the fact is the market growth and the trends make it clear that it is a big slice of future of learning pie. And I hope the following reasons will open up the minds in that context. So reason one is students love it. Students are digital natives and love using new technologies in the classroom, whether it is a cool factor for them or whether it's a genuine interest in technology. It also allows teachers to vary activities during the day and engage students, which is engagement is actually critical for them. So the second reason I talk about is it engages the 4 components to learning. So the 4 components like active engagement, participation in groups, frequent interaction, feedback, and connection to real-world experts. This is all possible with the help of technology tools. The reason number 3 that I would like to highlight is professional development. So Dr. Jawaha mentioned about anytime, anywhere access. So with the power of internet and tools available today, using new technologies allows students and teachers to learn another skill set that might that they want to learn, and maybe for students it directly relates to the marketplace. How many jobs need basic computing skills, let alone advanced computing skills? That's what Professor Pant asked, and that is true. And the whole fact is that anytime a teacher uses and can encourage students to learn through technology, they actually kill two birds with one stone. Reason number 4 would be it makes life easier for teachers and administrators. So teachers have to juggle a variety of tasks outside teaching, and that includes planning lessons, maybe grading, meeting with parents, and then communicating with parents sometimes, and also other administrative work. But the benefit is that many of the routine tasks done by teachers can be reassigned to technology. In fact, that elevates the role of a teacher rather than replacing or something that many naysayers talk about. Reason number 5 would be it can individualize instruction and improve learning. So a benefit of engaging students through technology is allowing them to work at their own pace. And this actually does not, you would not be held back by students who learn at a slower rate maybe. The fact is students learn and develop at different rates, and technology can make that happen and individualize instruction. Reason number 6 would be learn from the experts. So with the increasing amount of free resources available on the net, you can engage your students with content from the smartest or best teachers in the world or the subject matter experts. So graduates must be globally aware and able to use resources that exist outside the institution, and these tools allow them to allow students to use them inexpensively and instantly reach out around the world. The next reason would be encourages assignments and homework. So one of the research mentioned that the rate of engagement of students in models like blended learning, online learning, and flipped classroom, that increases the rate of interest and engagement for students, in fact. So those are the formal education program in which student learns at least in part through online delivery, and instruction with some element of student control over time, place, and path or pace of the content. So the benefit here is whether it's a traditional class or it's a face-to-face or online class, the instructors that we have teaching are the same. So the lines between those two modalities, the online and the face-to-face, actually start to fade. The next important reason is the fact that it saves money in the long run. It is true that it is an investment at the start, and many think it as a cost actually, but the fact is it should be taken as investment, and this initial investment will save money by multiplying the resources and teachers that you may have in the classrooms, and freeing up those real teachers to help students and answer their questions. The next reason is the information search and analysis made easy with the use of technology. So education technologies by design provoke students to raise searching questions, enter debates, formulate opinions, and engage in problem solving and critical thinking. These tools allow students to efficiently gather and evaluate information and communicate the same. So if they can communicate the same, this actually requires the skills like reading, thinking, writing, and creating charts, drafts, other images and media, or the organization, and the actual product of information, which is directly related to what they would be doing at the workplace. The last reason, and a strong reason for use of technology, is it can nurture artistic expression, and it can create opportunities for students to do meaningful work. So if we talk about the modern technology-based art form, that is video production, digital photography, and computer-based animation, they have great appeal, and encouraging artistic expression among our diverse student population. So what this does is that with these tools, the artistic communication for those students helps because they were constrained by the traditional options of verbal and written communication, but this increases motivation and foster creative problem solving skills as students evaluate the many possible ways to communicate those ideas. Apart from that, students need to produce products that have value outside the classrooms and receive feedback on their work, so that they get experience of the rewards of the publication and exhibition. So that there have been cases wherein the companies or the schools have helped maybe a student develop an app, a mobile app, and that has gone viral, and that has got 100,000 hits and downloads. So what that shows and encourages student is that the computer connects them to the larger audience that can value that work. So based on the two whys, we have basically worked on creating that community, that is why community and why technology. So if we talk about EdTech Review is aiming to create that professional learning community for educators and educational leaders to come together around their commitment on 21st century education and their belief in the power of technology. So it is a membership that provides you a network of like-minded educators and professionals from across the globe, not only in India, who share your passion of improving learning through technology, and with whom you can connect both online and offline in various ways. So the membership is open for teachers, professors, educational leaders, trainers, consultants, edupreneurs, as well as the institutions, regardless of the curriculum. But the fact is that the only prerequisite is members support our objectives, and they actually believe in the mission and vision. So the mission and vision is simple. The mission is to create an ongoing dialogue around how those 21st century knowledge and skills can be embedded into education, and how technology can be used for the betterment, and then guide the development of those resources and services through meaningful partnerships to support that community. So our vision is for everyone who supports learning through technology, who believe in that power of technology, to connect and collaborate both online and offline to discover, learn, utilize and share the best ways technology can improve learning. We know the fact that there are tremendous teachers and educators, leaders out there who can help others improve on bringing that required change for the 21st century. How we are doing that is divided into 4 major parts. So one of them is media. So EdTech Review is already a premier source for educational stakeholders to find useful news, information and resources on education technology and 21st century education and skills. So we already have a niche readership of 350,000 educators from over 200 countries and territories that talk about and share those practices that are helping educators catch up with the needs of 21st century. We plan to profile each institution or organization who is a member by sharing the latest happenings in their institutions related to educational technology and 21st century education initiatives, to spread and scale those good practices in various forms across the globe. So recently, one of the member school initiatives who are making the most of technology were also shared on television in partnership with NDTV, and we plan to do more such initiatives to bring out the good practices which can actually directly relate to the needs. So the membership also provides eligibility for EdTech Review conferences, awards, maybe various speaking, training, advisory, and volunteering opportunities, because it's like when you know who should be the right person at the right place. That is what we're trying to achieve actually. And the next part of it is events. So the events again allow various stakeholders to connect and collaborate, to pick up on innovative ideas from one another, to help each other meet their needs. we bring technology experts as well as educational leaders together through a series of events, such as meetups, seminars, conferences, and some hands-on training workshops and professional development programs. You not only get a chance to engage and learn in these events, but network with innovative educators who share the same passion, and also an opportunity to contribute to the conferences as a volunteer or a speaker based on your area of interest and work. So the events may be annual meeting of the conference, the community members, the showcase of member initiatives and the best practices around 21st century education, maybe face-to-face networking with leaders and educators from across the country. And here we aim to bring the early adopters and the best practitioners together through events. The third part is training and professional development. So again, with the partnerships and the support from various organizations and members, we have designed a training and professional development program that can guide and support students, teachers, professors, and administrators for learning, teaching, and leading successfully in the digital age. So whether a teacher is looking to enhance instructional practices or an institutional leader seeking to foster change, we have services to fit those needs because of the community members we have. The last part of what we do is consultation. So again, our community members and the team of experts and leaders from not only India but even outside India gives us the ability to offer those host of consulting services that will help you meet the needs of students and teachers. What we focus on is bringing 21st century education initiatives and successful and effective technology integration in place for institutions. And how we can help is for any institution, whether lying in the traditional institution stage or it's in anywhere in between, the fact is to transform it to a 21st century institution, there might be n steps, and out of those n steps there might be many steps that you are already taking, and the clarity that is needed is the current processes, the current needs of the institution. This is where consulting plays a role, and so that we can then suggest the pedagogical and process changes so that we can support it with training and professional development, and then help people adapt to that change. So the whole process is based on the key pillars of transformation. So that is creating a vision for technology integration and 21st century education systems for based on the network that we have. Then the roadmap. Then we roadmap your plan for integration, technology integration and implementation to create those right learning environments. We identify vendors, teams based on your needs, because it might happen that you might need more human resources for the same. We oversee the solution deployment. We then guide you in the 21st century curriculum and assessment, and then support it with continuous training and professional development. So the key areas of work currently that we are doing in is ICT literacy and digital citizenship curriculum that we have, that we can plug into the existing one. We have partnered with companies to implement technology enhanced pedagogies, and those partnerships are not only with companies but with the educators who understand the current process and help us implement those technology enhanced pedagogies, like bringing in the open educational resources, developing MOOCs, and creating a flipped model of teaching. Whether it's enhancing public relations. So again, when I talk of public relations, it's not promoting the existing thing, but promoting the transformational vision that you might have. Automating the management processes that can free you up, or teachers maybe from some of the repeat tasks, and the campus collaboration tools or technology training and language labs. So at the same time that I've been talking about the positivity and potential of technology, we as a community understand that what technologies cannot do. So some things only educators can do. Educators can build strong and productive relationship with students. Technologies cannot, and they can aid it, but it takes efforts by a teacher Teachers can motivate students to love learning. Technologies cannot. Teachers can identify and meet students' emotional needs, but technologies cannot. So technologies-based solutions in education can and must free the teacher to do important work that requires human interaction, continuous evaluation, and improvement of the learning environment. So we believe that the only way we can improve education is to work as partners, work as a community, as a network, because making a real impact on education requires ongoing collaboration. And we know we are a small part of the education system with so much to learn. We want to join with our fellow educators all around the world, and we are asking everyone who shares that passion to come with us and propel us on the path to creating that community. We realize that educational challenges are too big and pressing for one organization to resolve alone. We'll need to partner with others to debate the challenges and start to develop those solutions we all want to see. We all are here with a common bond and a consensus on the fact that technology can be a great tool when used with purpose. And the 21st century skills that we talk about, the thinking, learning skills like creativity, communication, collaboration, and critical thinking must be embedded in education. But the answer to how is this possible is not with one of us. The answer is something we need to together come up with, and it requires a community to enable that significant education transformation for the 21st century. I bet that no single person or organization can bring that required change in education, because the fact is together we are better. Thank you.